So let's talk about a story you probably think you know. A world-ending flood, a handful of survivors. But what if I told you this story wasn't just told by one culture, but by, well, almost all of them? Today we're diving deep into the Great Flood, and we're going to ask a really big question. Is this all just a myth, or is it some kind of ancient shared memory?
And that's really the big question, isn't it? As we go through this, you've got to keep asking yourself, are all these incredibly similar stories just one massive planet-wide coincidence, or are they all pointing to a single, unbelievable truth? Because here's the first mind-blowing part of this whole thing. This isn't just one story from one corner of the world. Nope, it's a story told in one form or another almost everywhere on Earth.
Now, we all know the basic beats, right? Some kind of cataclysmic flood just washes away the entire world. There's usually a big boat, an ark of some kind, and a small group of people, maybe some animals too, who survive to, restart everything. It's a foundational story for so many of us.
And this is where it gets really weird. What if that basic plot wasn't unique at all? What if it was like the most popular story in the ancient world, told by cultures that supposedly never even met? We're talking cultures separated by vast oceans and thousands of years.
All right, so let's actually look at some of these echoes. Let's see how this one single story pops up in completely separate civilizations, from the Middle East all the way to China. I mean, just look at the sheer geographic spread here. We're not talking about a couple of neighboring tribes sharing campfire stories. We're talking ancient India, early dynasties in Egypt, classical Greece, the absolute cradle of civilization in Sumer, and then all the way across the globe in ancient China. Every single one of them came up with a strikingly similar story.
This really gets to the core problem for historians and scientists. According to their oldest, most sacred texts, this wasn't just a local river overflowing. They're describing a global, world-ending event. Sure, the details change, the names of the heroes and gods are different, but the main event, the cataclysm itself, is just shockingly consistent.
So all of this brings us right to the heart of the mystery, and it really boils down to three very simple but incredibly profound questions. Okay, first up, where in the world did all the water come from? We're not talking about a bad hurricane or a tsunami here. To flood the entire planet, to cover the highest mountains like so many of these stories claim, well, that requires a volume of water that's almost impossible to even wrap your head around.
And that leads us right to the next, just as baffling, question. If the world was covered in that much water, where is it now? It couldn't have just evaporated. It can't just soak into the ground. I mean, basic physics gives us a major headache here. Where did it all go?
And so, that brings us to the most important question of all. If the physical event itself seems so impossible based on what we know today, then we have to answer this. Why? Why would so many completely disconnected civilizations, separated by oceans and millennia, all invent the same impossible story? This is what forces us to confront that central idea. Are we just dealing with a bunch of myths here? Or could this be some kind of evidence of a deeply buried, shared memory for all of humankind? That's really what it comes down to, isn't it? One potential event, way back in prehistoric times, retold in countless different stories, which creates one of the greatest historical mysteries we have. The idea of a single origin point for a story that has shaped entire civilizations. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Is the fear of a big flood just so primal, so baked into our human DNA that every culture on Earth independently made up a huge myth about it? Or are all these stories the last surviving whispers of a real global catastrophe, a single forgotten chapter of our own past that we can now only glimpse through these old myths? Is it a common fear or a forgotten history? The answer, for now, is still buried.